In 1 year, 3,217 Australian building companies collapsed, 9 a day, leaving $6.8 billion stranded, entire neighbourhoods abandoned, and over 50,000 families financially shattered. Officials quietly track blacklisted builders most likely to fall next, but you would never know, and your builder could already be on that list. How did Australia's construction dream turn so dangerous, and who is about to lose everything next? Porter Davis Homes, once a trusted name for families chasing the Australian dream, collapsed without warning in March 2023. The numbers alone are staggering. 1,700 homes left abandoned in Victoria and Queensland, $255 million in unpaid debts, and hundreds of families suddenly stranded, their deposits and hopes wiped out overnight. For many, years of saving vanished with a single phone call from the liquidator. Some had already sold their previous homes, expecting to move in within weeks. Instead, they found themselves scrambling for rentals, facing rising costs, and a market with no room for error. Porter Davis was not a giant. It was the 12th largest builder in the country, but its fall sent shockwaves through every suburb. The company's collapse revealed a painful truth. Almost every Australian builder operates on a knife's edge. 98% are small to medium-sized businesses, most with margins barely above 2%. A single missed payment or a spike in timber prices can push them from solvent to insolvent in a matter of weeks. This is not just a story of one failed company. It is a warning about the entire sector's fragility. Builders rely on progress payments from new clients to finish old projects, a system sometimes called robbing Peter to pay Paul. When the cash flow stops, the whole operation grinds to a halt. Porter Davis was the canary in the coal mine, showing just how quickly a trusted local builder can turn into a cautionary tale. The fallout did not just affect the company's balance sheet, it upended the lives of ordinary Australians, exposing just how vulnerable the dream of home ownership has become. ProBuild's collapse in February 2022 sent another shockwave through the construction sector. With $5 billion in projects frozen overnight, 18 major apartment sites were left in limbo, and 2,500 workers found themselves jobless. Subcontractors, many already stretched thin, lost more than $300 million they were owed. ProBuild's parent company, WBHO, pulled the plug after years of mounting losses, citing Australia's unpredictable building market. The fallout spread quickly. Developers scrambled to find replacement builders, while families and investors watched their dreams stall behind locked site gates. But the pressure did not stop there. In the same period, the federal government launched the Home Builder Grant, offering up to $45,000 per new build. Applications surged by 300% in just 6 months, flooding the market with demand that builders simply could not meet. Timber prices quadrupled. Steel, bricks, and trades became scarce. Yet nearly every builder was locked into fixed-price contracts, a system designed in the 1990s, boom that had become a trapdoor. Even as costs rose by 40 to 60%, builders were legally bound to finish homes at the original price, absorbing losses on every job. This combination of massive incentive-driven demand, supply chain chaos, and rigid contracts created a perfect storm. The industry's fragile business model, already exposed by ProBuild's collapse, now faced a tidal wave of risk. What began as isolated failures was fast becoming a national crisis, setting the stage for a record-breaking wave of insolvencies and unfinished homes across Australia. Sam signed her building contract in early 2024, after years of saving and sacrifice. By the time her builder went under, she had already sold her old house, packed up her family, and handed over a $44,000 deposit, money she will likely never see again. Now she is renting a cramped unit on the outskirts of Melbourne, watching the skeleton of her dream home gather dust behind a locked fence. Every call to the liquidator brings more questions than answers. The bank still wants repayments. The insurance payout, if it comes at all, will barely cover half the loss. Sam's story is echoed by thousands across the country. In 2024 alone, 3,217 builders collapsed, an average of 9 every single day. Industry estimates put the financial wreckage in the billions, with at least $2.3 billion in lost deposits and unfinished projects stretching from Wyndham and Melton in Victoria to Box Hill in Sydney and the Gold Coast's frozen towers. Families who sold up expecting a smooth transition now find themselves in limbo. More than 4,000 are stuck in the rental crisis, while some have been forced into caravan parks or spare rooms with relatives. The fallout is not just financial. Mental health services have reported a surge in distress calls from families caught in the chaos, with construction-related stress now a leading reason for seeking help. The pain is concentrated in the outer suburbs, where new estates once promised a fresh start. Instead, for thousands like Sam, the dream has curdled into uncertainty, debt, and anxiety, while the unfinished homes stand as silent reminders of a system stretched to breaking. Warning signs flashed for months before each collapse, buried deep in the paperwork and rarely reaching the families out front. ASIC records show a clear pattern. Nearly 3/4 of failed builders had overdue financial filings in the year before they went under. Director resignations spiked. More than half stepped down 6 to 12 months before collapse, sometimes replaced by relatives or shell company officers. Court records tell another story. Unpaid subcontractors chased judgments, most never collected. In 2024, the vast majority of insolvent builders, around 85%, had at least one unresolved creditor claim in the months before liquidation. The average time from the first red flags to total collapse was less than 9 months. But even as these signals stacked up, there was no warning for homeowners. Behind closed doors, state regulators kept confidential watch lists. The Victorian Building Authority tracked over 150 high-risk licensees, monitoring late filings, court actions, and insurance lapses. In Queensland, the Queensland Building and Construction Commission quietly investigated dozens of builders flagged for trading while insolvent. Yet privacy laws and commercial confidentiality blocked any public disclosure. An anonymous regulator says they know which companies are on the brink, but they are legally barred from naming them. The law protects the builder's reputation, not the buyer's life savings. Internal lists circulate, but families searching for answers find nothing. No alerts, no ratings, just silence until the liquidators arrive. The accountability gap is stark. The red flags are visible to those in power, but invisible to those most at risk. Material costs did not just rise, they exploded. According to Josh Sutherland, timber, steel, and concrete shot up by 40 to 60% in under 2 years, while fixed price contracts locked builders into losses they could not escape. Each new house handed over meant a shortfall of $50,000 to $150,000. Most small builders never had the reserves to weather such a storm. 68% of those that failed had only started up since 2019, chasing the COVID boom with little capital behind them. Meanwhile, the industry itself began to shrink and harden. Just 5 companies now control more than half of all detached home builds, squeezing out smaller rivals and reducing competition. Beneath the surface, the same names keep reappearing. 34% of directors from collapsed firms simply start fresh, using Phoenix tactics to dodge old debts and take new deposits, leaving families and subcontractors to pick up the pieces. Industry forecasts warn that another 3,500 to 4,000 construction companies could collapse in 2026 as the crisis deepens. The new National Construction Code is set to add between $25,000 and $40,000 to the cost of every new home. At the same time, the sector faces a shortage of 90,000 skilled trades, pushing wages and delays even higher. Insurance premiums for home warranty cover have soared by up to 600%, and some builders cannot get cover at any price. Each collapse ripples through the economy, costing an estimated $3.2 million in lost jobs, unpaid suppliers, and stranded families. Experts and advocates are calling for urgent reforms, including mandatory project trust accounts, real-time financial health ratings, tougher minimum capital rules, and a federal compensation scheme to protect buyers if their builder fails. Today, regulators still keep their watch list sealed, while thousands of families risk everything with no warning. As insolvencies climb and insurance options vanish, trust in the system teeters. Until transparency becomes law, every new build begins with a question: who is next? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments.